The state Senate in Maryland has basically passed a bipartisan vote to decriminalize marijuana. Currently in Maryland, if you are caught with marijuana, you will have to serve a prison sentence in some cases. You have to pay hefty fines. It's actually considered a Class 1 misdemeanor. But because of this decision by the Senate, and of course this still has to go to the House and it still has to be signed by the governor, so of course there's still some obstacles to pass, but there is a possibility that if you do get caught with marijuana in Maryland, all you'll have to do is pay a fine and you don't have to worry about serving a prison sentence, which makes me extremely happy. I mean, it just goes to show you that there's even more progress when it comes to legalizing drugs, specifically marijuana. And, you know, again, I'm very curious to see how the federal government handles it. They haven't done anything yet. They haven't done anything yet, but that doesn't mean they're not going to do anything, especially in the case of Colorado and Washington. Yeah. Well, look, when the election happened and you had the legalization even for recreational use in a couple of states, we predicted that there would be a ripple effect. This is what it looks like. I mean, it may not get past the House this time, but this guy was willing to sponsor it. And previously there had been a few tries in Maryland before, but now you have the cover of the fact that people's opinions are changing across the country. And I think that it's going to make people in office realize that there's not necessarily any kind of price to pay for sponsoring legislation like this. And 10 years ago, there certainly would have been. If you had been the guy who stands up and says, hey, by the way, maybe we should decriminalize marijuana, you'd be the radical, the hippie, the pothead and everything. But now you're just another in a long line of politicians across the country. I mean, it's the same thing when it comes to gay rights. We hope, yeah. And I mean, we're seeing a changing environment when it comes to gay rights. We're definitely seeing the same environment when it comes to marijuana legalization. And you know, you mentioned the author, and also the co-author is State Senator Alan Kittleman, and he says that the police in Maryland made around 40,000 arrests last year alone related to marijuana, and that is unacceptable. We cannot spend resources on arresting tens of thousands of people in each state. That doesn't make any sense at all. And again, in a lot of cases, we're locking these people away. We're using more of our resources. We're basically funding private prisons, and it has this terrible, terrible impact on society. It's not just the fact that, you know, people are getting arrested, but all of these private corporations are making a ton of money through the criminalization of marijuana. Yeah, people are just scared. The opposition to marijuana is rested on ignorance about what marijuana is, what marijuana actually does to you. The fact that people can be like, you know, marijuana ruins people's lives, and then they drink vodka, as much as you want, vodka, beer, whiskey, anything like that, but they believe that marijuana is so important and distinct. That's simply false. And as more and more states legalize it, and those states don't fall off into the ocean, I think that people's opposition will naturally go away. Absolutely. And I do agree that it has to do with ignorance, but I think that far too often on the show, we act like, you know, marijuana is totally fine and it doesn't ruin some people's lives. And I'm not saying like this happens to everyone, but marijuana can make people a little complacent, right? If you're smoking every night or smoking every day, for some people, like, you know what else can make people complacent? Alcohol, Netflix. That's true, yes. You know what's dangerous? Soda, which we're going to talk about. There's lots of things that are dangerous or can lead to negative individual level reactions. You're absolutely right about that, which is why I'm obviously in favor of legalizing marijuana. Could have swayed you. Yeah, no, okay, you didn't sway me at all. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, I don't want people to think that it's totally benign and there are absolutely no problems with marijuana. Just like with any other, you know, substance, there are issues with it. Same with alcohol. Same with caffeine. There are downsides to everything. Same with quesadillas.